recording, is it? Wait.
Brilliant.
Yo, everyone, it's me, it's Johnny One Eye, back again, and this is your match debrief. Everton 1, Burnley 0. Yesterday at Goodison Park, I did see Michael's match reaction, which I think he summed it up for what most Evertonians felt. Michael, listen, the most important thing was the 3 points yesterday, but the performance, Jesus Christ. And then Sean Dyche comes out and says, we set up to play ugly. Well, I'm sorry, Sean, but you can't even do that, right? Because it was, it was awful. It was awful. It was more than ugly. It was like rotten. It was rotten. Couple of good performances, I thought, from certain individuals. Some poor performances as well, again, I thought, from some players. Thought Burnley gave a good account of themselves. They weren't no better than Everton. They weren't no worse than Everton. I think Burnley probably feel hard done by, especially the way they conceded the goal as well. So now you've had time to mull over the performance and the result. How are you feeling about it today?
Yeah, so it was difficult yesterday because obviously I'd watched the game on my phone.
With one eye.
With one eye. I'd watched the game on my phone. And obviously, well, I'd just been hit in the face with a golf club. So I mean, I weren't quite compass mentis yesterday. And the match reaction, it was difficult really, because you're summing up a game that fundamentally was absolute turgid. Like, it was awful. I do think there was a few positive signs, but I also think that we have this absolute ability of not seeing out games, and even when Burnley were with 10 men, they actually played better, and we've seen this before. We've seen it with Brighton, and it worries me, Sean coming out and saying things like, we set up to make it a horrible game and dirty game. Well, surely that plays straight into the hands of Burnley. Surely the worse it gets, the more long ball it gets, the more boring it gets. Surely that plays more into Burnley than it does Everton at home. I just don't think he's got a clue, if I'm being honest. And I think he gets away with it, and I think he's getting away with it because of the position he's in, with the fact that there's nobody there to sack him. But look, I've always said he's been dealt a really difficult hand of cards as well. I just don't think he's done the best with them. Yesterday, he made one decision that I thought was good, but actually it then turns out that it wasn't even him that made that decision. It was Onana that made that decision, saying he was sore, which was bringing Andre Gomes in. That little bit of composure, that little bit of, the passing forward, the looking up. And I'm not going to say Gomes was absolutely brilliant yesterday, because, I think we lack a little bit of intensity in the middle of the park just because he's slower. But what he added was that composure, that passing of the ball, the swinging the ball left to right. There was a moment where, towards the end of the game, where he has two players on him, he turns, and it's a beautiful crossfield ball over to Ashley Young. We don't have other players in our team that can do that. Onana can't do that, because Onana's Hollywood balls go out of play. So I was glad for Gomes yesterday, and that was the reason I give him man of the match. Look, the best player on the pitch yesterday was Branthwaite. I mean, some of the tackles he put in was phenomenal, but I give him man of the match because I thought, coming back into it after such a big break, after, occasional minutes here and there, I thought Andre Gomes did a really decent job yesterday and was exactly what we needed. And we got 3 points, but we don't make it easy. It was a scruffy goal. It was an unlucky red card, albeit it is a red card, but it was an unlucky red card because it's just a poor touch from the Burnley lad, and he has to dive in to try and stop McNeil, but he catches McNeil. But Burnley made no mugs of themselves yesterday, mate. They looked a very decent team yesterday.
I think Andre Gomes coming into the side yesterday, in my opinion, and listen, people on the channel know my thoughts on Amadou Onana. actually don't think we missed him yesterday. I don't think it would have been any sort of different game if Onana plays. So obviously he goes out because he's sore after the training session. And Andre Gomes comes in. Now, for me, Andre Gomes is probably the only player at the club who will put his foot on the ball and will look for that forward pass. And he also looks to bring the ball forward. For me, he's the most gifted footballer at the club to play in the central midfield. So it wasn't a bad thing Onana was out. And we've been saying this for a long, long time, Michael, that the sort of player who walks into Everton's team is a Ross Barkley. There's certain traits that you get with Gomes and Barkley that the good ball players. Granted, Barkley's probably got a bit more of a turn of pace and will bring the ball forward more with intent. But I have no problem with Gomes starting there because I think it's something we need. But then on the flip side of that, we still seen Pickford time and time again yesterday doing that long hoof ball. Now, someone needs to have a word in him, whether it be the goalkeeping coach, whether it be Sean Dyche, to say, look, 9 out of 10 of them do not work. We've played Andre Gomes in the middle yesterday. We've got ball carriers of the 2 centre-halves who can easily bring the ball out comfortably. So when you're playing someone like an Andre Gomes, get rid of them long balls because you've got 2 centre-halves who will carry the ball out and they'll look for Gomes. And again, as you said, he will turn with the ball. He can ping balls out to the right, to the left, and he will play balls through the middle. I think he played one yesterday over the top. I can't remember.
It was two. Played two through the middle to Beto, running in treacle, mate.
So that's what you get with Gomes. And listen, I know we're saying Gomes is off the wage list, the wage bill at the end of the season. He's out of contract. I'd have no problem Everton trying to structure some sort of deal for Andre Gomes if he can stay fit from now to the end of the season with lower wages and maybe giving him a 12, 18-month contract, because we're not going to be flush with money to bring a certain player in like that. An outstanding midfielder who's got the talent like Gomes has got. We all know Gomes has got talent for what we've just spoke about there with his creativity. So I'd have no problem Everton giving him a 12, 18-month contract, obviously on lower terms because he is paid quite well at the end of the season. Because as I say, we're not going to be flush enough to bring a midfielder in like that.
The thing is, he's an option, and he as well. Like you've just alluded to.
It's a good option to have on the bench because when you look at that bench yesterday, Idrissa Garner guy wasn't there because his missus gave birth overnight, so that's why he didn't play. And obviously, we spoke about Onana. So when you looked at the bench and the midfield options, there was zero apart from, obviously Gomes. Well, that's it. But Gomes started. If Gomes wouldn't have started and wouldn't have been injured yesterday, we had no one on that bench to come in and do something in the midfield. So this is what I'm saying. He's an option, whether he needs to be started like he had to be yesterday, or an option to bring off the bench because we know what he's capable of and we've seen it yesterday. I thought there was some poor players going on to that. I thought Takore had an absolute stinker yesterday. I think he's been poor since he's come back from injury. I've seen and heard different opinions on Ashley Young. I actually didn't think he'd done that bad yesterday. I thought he worked hard. I've seen Ashley Young have worse performances. Dwight McNeil chasing the ball everywhere. And listen, it's not really there for that Dwight McNeil. We all know that. But obviously we had Garner guy out and obviously we had Onana out. So we didn't really have that midfielder who will close the opposition down. Thought Dwight McNeil got asked to do that at certain times yesterday and he done it well. So there was some good individual performances. Again, I look at Calvert-Lewin. I know he's got 2 and 2. One was a pen. One was a lucky goal yesterday. But again, you mentioned Beto. This is why Calvert-Lewin's starting most weeks now again, because we've got nothing up front who can challenge Calvert-Lewin for that centre-forward slot. Because Beto, mate, I'm honestly going to say it now, I actually think he's the worst centre-forward we've ever had at the club. Do you know if I had a choice of Oumar Niasse and Beto on the bench, who to bring on, it'd be Oumar Niasse every week. That's how poor Beto is. He's like Bambi on ice. He goes down too easy. I have people saying to me he should have got a penalty because he goes down every week like that, Michael. He only needs contact. Look at the size of him. So referees look at that and they think, well, I'm not giving you that because you go down every week anyway.
So two things on that, because I know this will make people's blood boil to a degree, and I am sorry if you disagree with what I'm about to say. But one, I don't think it was inside the box, and two, I didn't think it was a penalty. I didn't even potentially think it was a foul anyway. Beto has leant in because he can't. He's gone that way. He's gone that way. I couldn't believe it. He picks up the ball. And I remember first seeing Beto in an Everton shirt. I thought, God, this guy's quick. He's unpredictable. Mate, it was like he was running in cement yesterday. It was like I couldn't quite get it. You know, like when somebody runs in clown shoes that are 10 sizes too big for them. It was like that. I didn't quite understand why he didn't just pop the ball out of his feet on the left-hand side and shoot, even if he's too slow for the centre-half. Don't run towards him. He's ran towards him yesterday to try and buy a foul, and I didn't think it was a foul. I didn't think it was a penalty.
I was just saying there, Michael, if he's leaning into the defender to try and win a foul or a penalty, if you've got the ball, instead of leaning into him to win a foul, use the old-fashioned shoulder barge. Just knock him off because you're away from him then anyway, so you've got no reason to go down.
I think the reason why he doesn't jump...
I don't think he's got a footballer mentality.
Well, it's not that. You'll know this when you've played at a level, and I struggle with this now because of the size. I mean, I'll be very open there. You struggle with it because of the size. So I'm a bigger mass than I was 15 years ago, right? But as a result of that, the centre of gravity for me, I can't obviously go left and right as quick as I could 15 years ago, as you can't, as many people watching this can't. The difference with Beto is he is a professional footballer that should have a decent idea of his inner balance, i.e. what position your body needs to be in for certain things. So I know that with my weight now, I have to have my foot, my left foot. If I'm hitting a ball with my right foot, I have to have my left foot further away because there's more mass. So when I strike a ball, my legs are quite divided quite a lot. And the reason why I'm talking about that is because Beto strikes me as someone that doesn't actually have any natural balance. He doesn't have a balance. It's almost like he gets the ball and basically he kicks the ball with whatever part of his foot and he will follow the ball. What I'm saying is he won't kick the ball in a direction he actually wants it to go in. So yesterday, if that was me yesterday and I'm one-on-one with a Burnley defender, I would have gone left because the defender's got to then engage me. But because his touch is so slow and so bad, he has to go right because he has to try and get contact because he can't go anywhere else because he's messed it. And he just doesn't have a footballing brain. And the problem you have with that is we've actually got a few players in our team that don't have a footballing brain. And you mentioned the other one earlier, Decore. Decore, instinctively, in a penalty area, is fine. When the ball's coming to him and he has to do something, like the volley against Bournemouth last season, at the end of the season, he hits a good volley because he hasn't really got to think about it, he's just got to kick it. Or when the ball comes over from a cross, he kicks it. You'll never see Decore get a ball, beat 3 people or 2 people or whatever, and then naturally do the right thing. You tend to see him make a mistake, whether it be a pass or whether it be a shot. It tends to either go wide or it's tame or it goes over. And it's because he hasn't got that. Whereas you see Ross Barkley, who has got balance, who has got composure, but he's still a big lad. He shifts his right really quickly. He can pass it left or right through the channels. He can score, and that's because his balance is spot on because he worked on it as a kid. He worked on it. You can clearly see it. And yesterday, I actually thought it was abundantly obvious the players that are footballers and the players that are not footballers, but are footballers, if you get what I mean. They haven't got the brain. The other person I wanted to mention, John, was James Garner, because people have got different opinions on James Garner, and I want to give mine. James Garner, for me, absolutely has a footballing brain. He does. He has a footballing brain, and he's got an engine. But I actually worry about his ability, about whether he's actually good enough. I'm not saying James Garner is a poor footballer. I'm not. But in games this season, he's looked almost like a busy fool. He runs, he chases, he harries.
Does nothing with it.
But he's either he does nothing with it, or he ends up in the wrong position and has to do something to try and get back in position. And yesterday, I thought it was a little bit obvious that he was trying so hard. I think he tried too hard. And actually, I didn't think James Garner had a good game at all yesterday, because he almost tried too hard.
I don't think we're seeing the last couple of weeks. We're not seeing the James Garner of last season, are we? My brother, I seen my brother before. He thought Garner was brilliant yesterday, and again, along the lines as what Michael has just said, he works hard. He's a busy bee, but lately I don't see what he's actually doing with it.
He will split opinions, because he does the fundamental, i.e. he works hard, he will put a foot in, he will make a tackle, he's got a decent turn of pace, and he can do all of those things. But you really notice when he's not in position, or when he's made a mistake, because he won't be in position where he's made a mistake, so there's a massive hole. And yesterday there was a moment. Andre Gomes has the ball, and it's a poor touch from Gomes, and the player gets away from him. The Burnley player gets away from him, so he fouls him to give away a yellow card. That's a footballing brain, because Andre Gomes knew at that moment he had to stop them getting away. He had to stop it. He essentially he made the mistake, and unfortunately he's going to have to take one for the team, and he did. I don't think James Garner does that.
Yeah, I think you mentioned Andre Gomes again. I think, again, he's probably the one at the club with the most footballing brain, the most intelligent footballer I think we have. You mentioned something before about Decore when he's got time to think, and, you know, we've seen, I think was it Brighton last year, was it, where I think he scored the volley, or where it could yeah. That's the difference with Decore and Calvert-Lewin. When Decore pushes further forward like he has been, and like he did last season, and he got quite a few goals last season, Decore, instinctively Decore pisses all over Calvert-Lewin. We've seen it yesterday with Calvert-Lewin, going back to what I said before. I think there was 2 or 3 chances yesterday where Calvert-Lewin had time to think, and we've mentioned it on here before. There was one of them, the Gladys Street end, and he was to the left of the goal.
Yeah.
And he was running in on the keeper, and the keeper made a save with his legs, I think. Now, that's the Calvert-Lewin that I always talk about. When he's got time to think about where he's going to put the ball, or if the keeper's coming out at him, he struggles.
Yeah.
Instinctively, he's completely opposite to Decore. Decore, if the ball's coming over, he'll just smash it. And we've seen it last season at Brighton. And that's the difference. You're talking about instinctive players who just do it off the cuff, and Calvert-Lewin who has time to think about it. And I think that's where Calvert-Lewin struggles as well.
Yeah. I predicted that the goal last week was quite a big goal for Calvert-Lewin. Although he played it down, to be fair to him, and I like that about him. He played it down. He didn't give it the big and on social. He just went, look, I know it's been a long time, but hopefully I'll score more goals now, Blues. You know, hopefully I'll feel a bit better. And he closed down the keeper yesterday, and he got his rewards for doing that. It almost happened slightly before as well. You know, I think it was about 10 minutes before, 20 minutes before, he'd rushed in, and the keeper just about got a pass off. he was more confident. There was a moment where he's on the right hand side. He picks up the ball. He beats two people and he shoots. He gets it off with his left foot. Again, Lewin's only problem in that sense is the fact that he probably isn't as good as some of the other strikers in that position. You know, and I'll give you an example. I think Nani Watkins, for example, at Villa, he probably beats those two players, but he probably gets the ball on target at least, whereas Lewin put it over the bar, you know, or what I wish is that we had a striker in Lewin that gave himself a moment, but also acted on instinct. And I know that sounds silly, but like, if you give Lewin too much time, he gets in his own head.
Yeah.
Whereas
he's got time to think about it.
Whereas give him 5 seconds, he's still got a little bit of time, but not too much.
Well, we seen that at West Ham, didn't we? Where the ball come into him and he controls it with his back to goal, and he turns it into instinct. Yeah. And this is what we're saying about Calvin.
But it's not instinct, is it? It's not instinct, because what he's done is he's realised the West Ham players behind him. So the ball's come into his feet, and then he's gone, right, I need to beat him and shoot. But my point is, he's thought about that movement. So he's had the time to think, but he hasn't got the ball at his feet. So he's thought, and then it's instinct. And that's what Lewin's better at. Not running with the ball and going, oh my God, right, am I going to get to the end? Am I going to shoot? Am I going to pass? What am I going to do? What's going to happen? I'm winning. That's Lewin.
Yeah, he confused. I think when he's one-on-one and he's bearing down on the goal, I think he confuses himself with thoughts that go through his head. Whereas, as you said, with the West Ham one, when the ball got played into him, he had time to think what he was going to do, because he was further away from the goal and he had someone behind him. So the only thing he could do was sort of hold it up, turn and hit it. That's what you're saying. Whereas when he's through on goal, he's got all the time in the world to think. So he'll go, he's not instinctive there, because he'll go, well, am I going to put it through the middle, or am I going to go to the right or to the left of the keeper? And that's what fluffs him. So, you know, and I've said this many times on here, I think Everton probably have one of the worst strike forces in the Premier League. The worst strike forces in the Premier League. And I think that's shown with the goals that our strikers have scored this season. You know, it's not great. So listen, Everton have got, we will do a match preview for Chelsea next week. I think we can go there and get a point. Yeah, we've got 4 points out of the last 2 games now, you know, after the run we were on. It's nice to get that win, the first win since December. Chelsea's a ground we can go to, in my opinion, and get a draw, you know, and then again, we've got home games. We've got 3 home games on the run then. Granted, one of them is Liverpool. So
Forest, Liverpool and
Bournemouth.
No.
Brentford.
Brentford.
So there is a bit of momentum there. You know, listen, the displays aren't there. The team performances aren't there. We know that, but obviously Dyche isn't setting us up to give good performances from what he said yesterday. Bit of a weird statement, I thought, by Dyche, but hey ho, there'll still be people on social media who will not see anything wrong with that comment, but we'll leave that there. But yeah, momentum, go to Chelsea, get a point. We've got 3 home games then. Tough one, Liverpool, we all know that. But listen, it's going to be a big day tomorrow. I think we're finding out tomorrow about the points deduction, the next thing that they're going to hit is where everyone's got different opinions on this. I know you've said probably 2, 3. I've heard people yesterday saying they think it could be 4. I've heard it could be more. So it's a big day again.
John, just out of interest, how many do you, in your heart of heart, you know, if I was to say to you 0 to 10, how many do you think we're going to get without thinking about it? What's your answer?
4.
Okay.
I think the third charge, I think it did see, isn't it, for 89 million?
So that's just our financial accounts. It's not the same. It's not the same as the PSR, essentially.
Right.
Because there's things that can be taken out of that. Yeah, I think 3. I think 3. If it's any more than 3, I think we should appeal.
Yeah. I think any less than 3, I'd just get on with it. Get it out the way.
Yeah.
Get the points deduction. We know where we are then. From the next points deduction, if they give us a points deduction to the end of the season, we can just push on. Then we know what position we're in. We know what we've got to do. Anything more than 3, then as you say, bang appealing. Anything less, get on with it.
Yeah, agreed. I don't think I've got anything else to add, John.
Nope. I think we've alluded to everything, haven't we?
Yeah. But look, I know it sounds a bit negative, but the overall positive is we won. We won yesterday. And that is great. I just think we need this season to end, because I think there's a lot of issues that are going to be raising their little heads over the playing style and everything. Whereas winning a game of football really helped yesterday, but I still think there's big problems in the team, in the squad, and in the manager.
I think
in recruitment.
I think there's massive problems from the top to the bottom. As you say, 3 points and we're on here sounds negative, but when you put it in a nutshell, Burnley were down to 10 men. Sean Dyche doesn't know how to push on, close the game out and get another goal against 10 men. I thought Burnley actually played better football than Everton yesterday, even though Burnley are probably going to go down, no disrespect to them. So they're the negatives for me, but the positives are, from now to the end of the season, it's all about the points. In the summer, start again, get the takeover sorted, and sort of try and push on next season and not go through this rigmarole of Everton Football Club every day in our head, going round and round and round. Let's get the season over with and start again.
Yeah, I'm turning into self-harming now, John. I've punched myself in the face. It weren't Finley in the golf club.
Right, folks. Yeah, thanks very much for watching. Don't forget, hit the like, the subscribe button if you don't already. We will be back through the week. We'll probably do a video tomorrow if we find out about the next saga of Everton's point deduction, PSR, whatever you want to call it. So we will be back for that. If it's not tomorrow, when it does come, we will be back on the Blue Boys Network. So cheers everyone for watching.
Yeah, peace.